This is the NBA, and we're talking about the offseason. This season is over, so we're moving in to kind of a thrown together offseason. A lot of the dates are coming out on the fly, but we do know that NBA free agency is coming up. We will hit on the draft probably after it happens. I'm going to speak for myself and say I'm not a draft analyst. I don't know many of these guys well, so maybe we'll just talk about that after the draft happens. But we're going to kind of do a little crystal ball looking as far as NBA free agents go. And a couple guys I wanted to focus on, just to kind of direct this discussion. We're going to start with a local favorite, a local hero, you could say. One Mr. Fred VanVleet, a guard for your Toronto Raptors in your hearts and minds around this area. Fred VanVleet had an interesting quote this week that Raptors fans will not be so excited to hear. Quote from Fred VanVleet: "I'm trying to get paid, man. I'm not shy about that. I won a championship, and now it's time to cash out." That comes courtesy of the Old Man and the Three podcast, which is JJ Redick's podcast. A great show that I recommend you checking out. But let's focus on the quote. We're all living in or are from the Toronto area. How does that hit your heart? Ryan, I'll start with you.
I think Freddie is the most well-deserving guy of anything near a max contract, a starting position, and a huge upgrade in a role. Just watching him on the Raptors, it just seemed like he was kind of like stuck in the shadow of Kyle Lowry. And there was so many games where I wanted Freddie to just like take over, throw the ball to Freddie. He popped off a couple of games where they did do that. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does leave the Raptors and if he does get into a starting role, because I think he deserves it. So,
yeah, Mark, and what do you think about this?
Yeah, the guy, he definitely earned his respect in the league. One, like he was undrafted, went to Wichita State, helped the Raptors, played a huge role in that team winning a championship. So I agree, the guy needs to get paid. I mean, if the Raptors don't want to do it, they're going to lose a great player. And then he's going to end up going to like the Knicks and never see the playoffs ever again. So just should pay him.
Fred VanVleet is an interesting one to me. I personally don't think he's worth a max contract.
Not a max.
But I think someone's going to give it to him, which makes me nervous. I think he falls into the category of like Tobias Harris from a couple years ago, who signed with the Sixers for a max contract, and I don't think anyone thought he was worth a max contract, but just because of the amount of offers he was getting, he ended up getting that. So I'm kind of worried about that for Fred VanVleet, is that a team is going to end up overpaying him as a superstar, and we don't know what he looks like outside of Nick Nurse's system without Kyle Lowry by his side. Kyle Lowry gives you a lot of that veteran leadership, and who knows how much he's given to Fred VanVleet, and whether he'll be able to take that to a new team. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really see him as that lead guard. I don't see him as a Kyrie or a Russell Westbrook. He's certainly not in those guys' tier athletically. Do you guys see him as a premier player in this league, Mark?
I definitely see him as a starting point guard for sure. I mean, he started a bunch for the Raptors anyways, but yeah, in terms of like top tier, like top 10 point guards in the league, I wouldn't say so, but like he definitely deserves to get paid and deserves a spot on a team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a starter, but my questions just kind of come with the amount of money he's going to get. Ryan, what do you think?
I definitely don't think he's on the same level as like Kyrie or Damian Lillard or like those guys, but I definitely think he's proven to be a starter. I think that's correct. But I think in the right situation, I think if he goes to where I want him to go, in the Phoenix Suns, I think he fits perfect there. Like I think he'd be more than happy to get the ball to Booker or to Ayton or to anybody else, and then like do his own thing. And Detroit's a pretty good position for him. I think he's from there. I don't know. Like given the right situation, I think he'd excel. So
yeah, I think that's one thing about Fred. He's like just accepts his role and is willing to sacrifice anything for the better of the team. So I think that's a good thing about him.
Well, I don't know. Is he willing to accept that? Because from this quote, you know,
He wants to get
I'm
paid.
not
Yeah,
shy
but
about that. You know, another
yeah,
part of the quote, I kind of cut out part of it. He says, "Obviously, I want to win, but I'm trying to get paid." Is basically the gist of that quote. So I don't know. Maybe he's done with all that, and maybe he wants to move on.
maybe you're right.
But I'm really excited to see what he is away from Kyle Lowry. I think that's something to look out for next year, wherever he is. And I think he will be gone. I don't think the Raptors are going to be able to pay him what he wants.
I don't think so.
Let's talk about.
Only they didn't pay Siakam.
Yeah,
He's from
right.
Illinois, by the way.
Okay.
Not from Detroit.
Right, in the area, close enough. Let's Ryan, you brought up the Suns maybe in the point guard market. I heard the rumor floated around the other day. Just maybe really quick, I want to get your Suns fan impression of Chris Paul to the Suns. How do you like that idea?
Huge.
I like it because he's only on a 1-year contract, and I still think Chris Paul is one of the best point guards in the league.
For sure.
But from like a future standpoint, like trying to like rebuild for the future and like have this guy for like another 10 years. If we had him for 10 years, he'd be in a rocker. So
Yeah.
I mean, I like it for now. I like it for like seeing the potential of what Chris Paul, Devin Booker could do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't give up the entire team just to get him. Kind of thing.
To me, this kind of smells of, oh my God, do something or Devin Booker's gonna leave us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's
do
what it
something
seems
now.
like.
Because right now, you know, we've got the D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns mini super team bubbling up, and Devin Booker really sounds like he wants to go be a part of that. So
Yeah.
I agree. It doesn't work as a long-term move, and I'm not sure it makes them a championship team. But if you're just trying to keep Devin Booker around to sell tickets, which is fine by me, if a team wants to do that, I like it. I think it'd be a heck of a lot of fun, if nothing else. And let's transition into kind of a tough one. If you're the Houston Rockets, Chris Paul's old team, now dealing with some trouble with his replacement, Russell Westbrook, who they swapped for Chris Paul, wants out of Houston just after 1 year. This comes courtesy of Shams Charania, the guy we get all of our NBA news from. This one to me seemed obvious. I mean, did anyone think the Westbrook-Harden thing was going to work? Just as a side note, James Harden says he's committed to the team, but it's James Harden. He's a diva, and that could change at any moment. And I feel like if Westbrook is out of town, he's gone too. What do you guys think? Give me your thoughts of the Westbrook-Harden experiment, and what do you think his next chapter looks like? Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely skeptical when the two joined together. I mean, like Westbrook, it's known that he's not the easiest person to play with.
Yeah. And
just looking at how the Rockets play, like that system in itself is just very restricting to a lot of players. Like only shooting threes or shooting layups. Like that's like Russell does not shoot threes, and like he showed that in the playoffs. And so, yeah, you kind of expected this. I mean, was it never going to work? I don't think so.
No. And Ryan, I'll ask you. What do you think of the Harden Westbrook experiment? How did it go?
I mean, I think it went exactly as everyone thought it was going to go. I mean, like as good of friends as you are, if the system around you doesn't fit your playing style, then there's no way you can succeed. Westbrook's just not meant to shoot threes. He's going to drive the lane. He's going to dunk over the entire team, and the system didn't give him enough chances to do that. It's just the start of like the Rockets simply just like blowing up. So
yeah, no, and I would agree. I'm just looking down at my phone right now because I'm trying to look up what exactly the trade was for Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook. But man, the OKC Thunder are walking out of here laughing. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander came over in the Clippers trade. Anyway, they're laughing because they dumped off Chris Paul or Paul George and Russell Westbrook, and ended up with a whole bunch of young guys and draft picks. And so they'll be able to do whatever the heck they want this offseason. Trade away Chris Paul, pick up some more picks, maybe some younger guys, and move
I like
on.
OKC. OKC is really nice.
Yeah, I like what they're doing too. I think they transitioned out of the Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook era just about as gracefully as you can with those two guys. So I give them huge props for that. What do you guys see Russell Westbrook as in the future? He's 30 plus at this point of his career. The athleticism is on the downturn. Do you guys see him as a lead superstar, maybe as the 1B or the 1A to someone who's already an established superstar with the team? What do you see him as going forward? Mark, go for it.
Yeah, I think he peaked, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's shown he doesn't have success in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown he can still put up numbers, he was putting up numbers last season, but his play style just doesn't win in this day and age in basketball.
Yeah.
So I think any team can get him, and they'll probably make the playoffs, but you're not going to go anywhere past the first or second round. You're not winning a championship with him as your lead player.
Yeah. No, I think that I'm not sure that was ever true with Russell Westbrook. Just the way he plays, and I don't think it's true now. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
It kind of makes you think that maybe it's time for him to change his playing style. We talked about that before with players getting older and having to change the playing style, maybe going from athletic to more of a shooter. Maybe instead of athletic to shooter, maybe you can go athletic to passer. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's not one of the best passing point guards in the game, because he proved that he's more than just a driving to the lane guy when everyone was saying that, and then he averaged a triple double. But I don't know, he's got to figure it out and become more of a team guy and do everything that the team needs him to do, not just what his personal stats need him to do.
Yeah. If
he wants to take that next level and be a champion. So.
Yeah, I'd agree. His game has not aged well. And yeah, I don't know what he becomes. Like you said, he's a good distributor. But I think that temptation's always going to be there for him to drive to the hoop. I see him kind of as maybe he ends up on a team like Orlando or something like that just wants to sell some tickets, or maybe is delusional about how good they are.
It'd be so sad.
Yeah, I know. I think we're at the point where Russell Westbrook is washed, which is hard to say, hard to hear, because I know we all grew up watching him. But such is life, and but all the best to Russell Westbrook.
I don't know about you guys, but I see a trend in sports where teams trade away their best players and then end up being better.
Yeah, Bryce Harper comes to mind. Russell Westbrook, of course.
Jeff Skinner in hockey, he was the best on the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, and
they instantly just became better. So
yeah, the only sport I can't think of that being true is football. But football's kind of the outlier as far as roster size goes. But yeah, it is an interesting trend. I don't know, what do you think of that? What do you make of that?
Wait, Joe Flacco was on the Ravens, correct?
That's right.
Would you say they're better now with
Yes, but Joe Flacco was never their best player. He was never even close. I'd say he was on a downswing for the last couple of years, so that made sense to me. It was early for sure, and Joe Flacco still had years left, but at that point he wasn't the best player on their team. So not quite.
I had no idea he was on the Jets right now. I was watching the Patriots game. I'm like, yo, that's Joe Flacco.
He's still out there, man. He's still kicking around. Good for Joe. Yeah, but that's a really great point, Ryan. You bring up. Do you guys make anything of that? I don't have anything I can point to. Maybe just overinflated salaries. You can get more guys. That's kind of the obvious answer to me.
I think for me, it's knowing when to make the transition from trying to build for a championship and trying to build for the future.
For sure.
And I think general managers are either getting lucky or they've learned more about when to do it. And you just see teams with these quick rebuilds, trading away your best player, and then 2 or 3 years later you're back in the running. So